Welcome to All Things All. And if you're wondering who All is, that is me. Those are my initials, but you can call me Am. And today we are going to be talking about my positive, scary birth story. That might sound like those two shouldn't go together. I did have a very nice birth. Just at the end, my son decided to scare us a little. That's where the scary part comes in. I am sharing my birth story because I am one of those that love to watch and listen to other people's birth stories. When I was in college, I wanted to become an OBGYN. Needless to say, I love hearing people's birth stories. I didn't become an OBGYN because I got married and then I became a mama. And so I just stay at home and take care of my baby. I'm considering when I've had all my kids and they're grown up, I might go back and, finish that. Right now, I'm very content just being a mama. Since I've never heard someone with my type of birth story, I just thought I would share it and let you know that this type of birth is a possibility. And yeah, I was not prepared for this being my birth experience. My pregnancy was not best pregnancy. I definitely struggled in my pregnancy. Morning sickness, I really think we need to rename that. It was all day sickness. That's what I'm phrasing it. All day sickness. Because from the moment I literally would wake up and turn over in my bed, I had to run to the bathroom because I was going to be sick. And it would be like that all day long. I couldn't move out of bed because I literally had no energy because I couldn't keep anything down. At one point, we even had to go to the hospital because I couldn't keep down water. It was bad. That was my whole first trimester. Second trimester, like half of it was still that. Other half was a lot nicer to me. I was able to eat more foods, like different variety of foods. It was much nicer. Third trimester, I got a little bit of the nausea back, but it was only in the morning. That was truly morning sickness, because then for the rest of the day I was fine. I did have a little bit of a complicated pregnancy because I had gestational diabetes. And so I was constantly being monitored. As every pregnant woman knows, by the time you get towards the end of your pregnancy, you're seeing that doctor so many times per week. I think I had to see it a little extra because of my gestational diabetes. I was in that clinic/hospital all the time towards the end of my pregnancy. One of the appointments, one of my midwives, because I had many midwives that I would see just so that way I could get familiar with all of them because I didn't know who was going to be in the hospital when I delivered. One of them asked me, if we reach a certain point where baby's just not wanting to come, doesn't want to be born, when would you want an induction date? So I put it for my due date because I wanted to give, baby boy all the time he needed inside to develop. And then fast forward, I am considered full term. And I had also, at this point, every time I went to the doctor, I had my hospital bag in the car, not my car, because I wasn't driving. That's something I really suggest you do is once you hit like 30 weeks, which is when I kind of started doing it, just have the hospital bag in the car. You never know what might happen. Had kind of been doing the whole prepping body for labor thing. I had been drinking the raspberry leaf tea. I did not do the dates. Mainly because I forgot that was a thing, and dates just didn't seem appetizing to me. I did, however, do something that I hadn't heard anybody else do. Besides, bouncing on the yoga ball. Everybody's heard of that one. I was drinking a pineapple tea, and my nutritionist had told me not to eat pineapple in my first and second trimester because pineapple helps with like ripening the cervix and kind of getting your body ready for labor for like a couple of weeks. I would say 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks before I actually gave birth. I had started drinking this pineapple tea mainly because my mom had given it to me and it was caffeine free, and I really just needed a different type of tea to drink. I was like, my taste buds needed palate cleansing. And every time I went to the doctor, they're like, oh, you're more dilated. Your cervix is getting softer. Like your body is naturally getting ready for labor. It wasn't something quick. It wasn't like, an overnight, oh, I'm in labor. It was literally, it was taking weeks, but I was constantly drinking this tea. I was drinking this tea like 2 to 3 times a day because I just really loved the taste. I think about what my nutritionist had told me. I do think definitely I'm going to do that for baby number 2 because I do think it helped my body with what was to come. Now, about a week before, not quite a week, maybe like 5 days before, I had woken up, had this massive headache, and I had a pain on the left side of my stomach. And I knew headache equaled trouble because I wasn't supposed to, be having headaches. They warned me. My mom had toxemia with me, which they had to induce her with me. I was a preemie. I knew headache was not good. And this was like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. And I called the on-call nurse. Poor thing, I could tell she was like woken up from dead sleep. So I felt a little bad about that, but I was also worried for the headache. So I was kind of not, sorry about it. And I told her I live like an hour plus away from the hospital. And she was like, yeah, you should probably make your way to the hospital just so we can check out the headache. And I was like, okay. So she notified the hospital. Like literally my hospital is the best hospital. I want to have all my kids there. They were waiting for me. They literally had me already like in the computer system. All I did was walk up to the front, tell them my name, and they're like, here's the little, band for your wrist. They're gonna call you soon. I didn't even sit down in the waiting room of the emergency room. They take my blood pressure and it's like 170 over, I don't even remember what the bottom number was, but all I know is that was high enough blood pressure that they immediately took me to triage in the labor and delivery ward. They take me there and they put me like all the monitors, all the stuff on the belly. I had an IV in the hands just in case I wanted to labor. Like they had everything ready just in case. My hospital bag was in my husband's truck. We were also kind of like, maybe, I don't know. I also felt bad. It was my father-in-law's birthday. So he was kind of hoping that I would go into labor, but my mother-in-law was like, no, it's too soon. She can't go into labor. I was there for like, I think 5+ hours we were at the hospital in triage. I quickly learned something about myself though in that process was laying flat on my back makes my pains worse because I was experiencing some contractions. They just made the pain like 50 times worse. I could not be on my back. I asked the nurses, can I please lay on my side? And they were like, sure, yeah. They put me on my side. Immediately the pain was so much better. It was drastically different. It was to the point I actually fell asleep. And because I fell asleep and my blood pressure went down and the contractions kind of spaced out when I fell asleep, they just let me go home. And they were like, yeah, you're gonna follow up with your midwives and your OBGYN. I did, and that week I had another appointment. My mother-in-law takes me to that appointment because my husband had to go to work. We go to this appointment. I go in, they take my blood pressure. And normally they tell me like, oh, your blood pressure's good. Or I ask like, oh, what's my blood pressure? And they give me the numbers. As a, pre-med student, I understand the numbers. Well, I should have known something was off because the medical assistant did not tell me the numbers. She was just like, okay, the doctor's gonna be in soon, and just went. And I was like, okay. I had no clothes from the waist down because I'm like ready to be examined. Like my mother-in-law and I are like guessing how far dilated I am because by this point I was, if I remember correctly, I was about like 2 centimeters dilated. So we're wondering like, oh, is it more? Like, we were making bets. And the doctor comes in. She sits down. She's like, how are you? And I make a joke. Oh, 15 more days until my induction. And she responds with,
actually, it's today.
Excuse me? What? Apparently, my blood pressure was very high again for the second time. That means immediate induction. You're full term, go to the hospital, you're having the baby. My mother and I were floored. Our mouths dropped. We couldn't believe what we were hearing. I asked the doctor, I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you're having this baby. And I'm like, what? My parents aren't in town, okay? My parents live in a whole different state. We are states separated, okay? Like, they're gonna need a plane ride. They're not even a drive, like a 2-hour drive to where I live. They're a plane ride away. And depending if you need connections, they're 2 plane rides away, okay? I was like, oh my gosh. And like, my husband is texting, you know, the family saying like, oh, I got to leave work early, I'm heading home. Home is an hour plus away from the hospital. And he's actually gonna pass by the hospital to go home. My mother-in-law goes into like soldier mode. She's like, okay, I gotta go, I need to tell everybody. And she's texting the family group chat saying, Anna Marie needs to be induced. The baby's gonna be coming soon. Like, all hands on deck. And when I tell you all hands were on deck, my father-in-law left work. My brother-in-law was like, what do you need me to do? I'll go to the house. I'll get whatever you need. And which I feel very grateful for. I'm calling my best friend because I was working at the time. And my best friend happened to be my supervisor. And by best friend, I mean, we have been friends since I was 14 years old. And tell her, hey, the baby's actually coming. She was like so excited. She was like, don't worry about anything at work. I got you covered. We had to call my parents. My dad, I love my father for this reason. My father was in the military for like almost 30 years, okay? He was like, I think 6 months shy of 30 years. He said he had a gut feeling something was gonna happen today. So in the morning, before I even had left my house to go to the doctor's appointment, he had looked at flights to where I live. And like, he already had a game plan of okay, if she goes into labor or something happens that we need to go to where I live, of which tickets he was going to buy and everything. Love my dad. So he immediately jumped on that and bought the tickets for him and my mom. And so like, we get in the car, and thankfully the hospital is like not even a 2-minute drive from my midwife's clinic. So it was a very easy drive. Thank goodness I had my hospital bag in her car. There were a few things missing in the hospital bag that I wish I had when I was in recovery, but thankfully my parents, they helped out. They brought me what I was missing. So now I know better to prepare next time. Only thing I guess I regret, or not regret, I shouldn't say regret, but the thing I miss about my whole like, oh my goodness, I'm going to the hospital to have a baby. I kind of wish I would have called my husband to tell him that, hey, we're about to bring our son into the world. My mother-in-law was the one who called him. Looking back, I wish I'd called him just because of what would happen in the future. I didn't get the storybook ending, or like how most women have that bonding moment with their husband at the end. I didn't get that, and you'll see why. I wish I would have had this moment to kind of, I guess, have that bonding moment. But I was also like in a daze because the doctor did like a sweep and then did a check, and then all I remember was I was bleeding a little after she checked me down there. And I do think she did some type of sweep without telling me, looking back on it. That's the only part that I'm like, Let's just say I always request not to see that doctor. I'm like, can you give me anybody else but her? She also doesn't have a great bedside manner, I will say that. So that's the only bad thing about where my midwives are. That one doctor just doesn't have good bedside manner. So I always ask to see somebody else. I was like in pain afterwards after that, because that really like ramped up my contractions. So my mother-in-law called my husband, because it was also a matter of like time. Like, he was literally driving by, and since we live so far away, it was like, so it was literally a matter of time. Like, we need to tell him now. And she got like in the zone of like, okay, we got to do X, Y, and Z. Because I had also told her ahead of time. So if you watch my baby registry and newborn trenches video, I do say you need to have a game plan, like a day and night game plan for like when the baby's here, but you also need one for labor. And I had sat down with her and basically like said, this is kind of like the game plan that I have. Like, when I go into labor, let's do this. Like, I had a separate one for her and one for my husband. husband because I was like, I'm either going to go to the hospital to have a baby with one of these two. Turned out this time was my mother-in-law. You're going to be in charge of telling people. I should have specified when it came to my husband, I wanted to tell him first. I didn't specify that. So I don't blame her for that at all. I don't. Next time I'll tell my husband. Most likely my husband will be with me next time just because we already have a kid. So somebody gotta take care of the kid. Going to be my mother-in-law. Go to the hospital, and I had become really good friends with the front desk lady. I'm not gonna say her name. She was so sweet because every time I went to the hospital for like my anatomy scans or like ultrasound, she always made my day. She was like, oh, how far along are we? Oh, any day now. And like, she was just the best. I loved talking with her. I come waddling in. I'm literally waddling. I'm the definition of a penguin. She goes, I will never forget. She goes,
oh Lord.
and I'm like, uh-huh. She's like,
Is it getting that bad? Like, how far along are you? When are we having this baby? Because you just look uncomfortable.
and I had to tell her, I'm actually having the baby. I'm in labor because I was having contractions. Even though they were going to induce me, I was having contractions. Like whatever that doctor did was working. And my body was already like dilating on its own. And I tell her, I'm having this baby. I need to go up to labor and delivery. And she's like,
No, you're joking.
she started crying. She was so happy. This is the first time I saw this woman walk because she was always sitting in a chair behind the desk. She walked, came around, shortest, cutest little lady, old lady. Oh my goodness. I was taller than her. And if you ever see me in person, I am not a very tall person. And I was taller than her. She came and gave me a hug. Like, I felt so loved and embraced in that moment. I was like, oh my goodness, this is already a beautiful start to the street. And like, she quickly got the nurse down. She's like, we have a mother, you need to come down immediately. She went and got me a wheelchair. Like, she was doing everything. She was wonderful. And later on, when we did have my son, my father-in-law actually went and told her that I had the baby, and she was so happy. They even got a picture of her going like this. I get up to labor and delivery, and they're checking me in, and I am so out of it. It's not even funny. At one point, the person doing all the registration stuff asked me like, what brings you in? And I heard, who brought you in? And I go, my mother-in-law. And she's like, no, I'm not the reason why she's here. And I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm also having a baby. So then they wheel me in. The same nurse who had put my IV in my hand when I had that little scare was the same one who put my IV in for now the real thing, which was, it was kind of funny to see her again. It was like, hello, it's me again. Now, the great thing that I will highly recommend to any mama is get a labor and delivery gown. And I got mine from Lila. It is a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's totally worth it. Mainly because your backside, your behind, your tush is covered. That was really nice, especially because now I'm not a shy person, clearly. So my dad, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law were in the room. Not when I was, well, I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say not when I was giving birth, but you'll see at the end. When I was like, bouncing on the yoga ball, kind of dealing with the pain of the contractions. So they were going in and out, just checking on me, and I told them that was completely fine. Like, I have no problem with that whatsoever. Mainly because we have such a good relationship. Like, the front is good. I just love it all. I will say, next baby, I'm getting a different labor and delivery gown, but this time I'm getting sleeveless. Because I had sleeves, but it was always just getting in the way of the blood pressure cuff. Since I had high blood pressure, they were constantly checking my blood pressure. And eventually all of the, what I called the cables, that's what it felt like, of like the IV. And then I had another one for like, at one point, I had like 2 different IV things. There was like so many tubes that I was just like, it's getting in the way with the sleeves. I just can't. So next time, sleeveless. So like, I get in this gown and all of the nurses are like, where did you get that? And I tell them, they're like, I wish I had that when I was giving birth. That looks so nice. And I was like, oh, feel the fabric. And they're like, it's so soft. It really is soft. It is the best thing when you're in labor. labor is just to have something soft, not scratchy. I didn't want to feel so clinical, like yes, I'm in a hospital, but I didn't want to feel so clinical. Love the fact that this thing was so soft, and it's so flowy. It was just so nice. Honestly, I would have another baby just to wear that thing again. Get me all set up, and my mother-in-law's there, and she's like, they tell her where the drinks are for me, which is an interesting thing. I don't think every hospital does this, but apparently mine did. My hospital actually let me drink liquids and eat certain things, which apparently not a lot of people do or have the ability to do. I had options of clear liquids that I could drink during this time, which is so nice. And one of them was Diet Coke. Well, it was Diet Shasta. We got the off-brand, but that's okay. I was just drinking that the whole time I was in labor. It was really nice. And they literally said, oh, you can eat this clear Jello or this popsicle, and I think they had like something else that I could pick from. At one point I did ask for a popsicle because my lips were so chapped and like my throat, I just needed like a popsicle. I was actually able to technically eat during labor and have something to drink, which I thought was nice. My brother-in-law's at the hospital, everybody's at the hospital, and before they put me on the Pitocin, which is what they put you on to induce you, I love my nurses and midwives. They were like, do you want anything to eat before we give you the Pitocin? Because once you get the Pitocin and any pain meds through the IV or, you know, anything, you cannot have like solid food. You have to have what we're offering you. And I told my brother-in-law, I was like, I really want a veggie sub. Now that was a craving I had during this pregnancy, was go to Subway, no meat, just fill that sucker up with all the vegetables they have. And when I mean all the vegetables, I'm like, you're going container by container. Just put it in the sandwich. So that's what I told them to do. Put it in the sandwich, all the vegetables, except for the jalapenos. I went through like 2 weeks of all I needed was spicy, and then after those 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I'm done. With garlic aioli, that was my sandwich. I asked him, could you get that? And he did. He got it like that. I ate their entire sandwich, and then they put me in the bed. While I was waiting for the sandwich, my contractions were all in my back, not in the front. They were all in the back, and I was like, okay, they're kind of getting a little uncomfy. My labor and delivery room had a shower, and I asked my midwife, could I please get hot water on my back, like in the shower? And they said, yep, you go right ahead. So they cover up the IV port and everything. I had the non-slip socks and got in the shower, and my mom was there with my husband, like just, you know, making sure I was okay. And that was the best. That was one of the best showers I had. That was the second best. The first best was having a shower after birth. Once the sandwich arrived, I dried, put my gown back on, and got into bed, and I ate my sandwich. After I was done with the sandwich, they came in, put the Pitocin in, and they said, you know, we're only gonna give you as much Pitocin as your body needs. So if your body doesn't need a lot of Pitocin and it's doing well, you know, progressing very well, then we're not going to give you more than you need. Apparently, I was on a very, very low dose of Pitocin the entire time. The nurses were like, your body took that really well. Getting part of my labor, I was on the yoga ball. I was just bouncing on the yoga ball, and then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm getting tired. Like, I want to lay down. So I lay down and I took a nap. And what told me to get the epidural was I woke up from the nap because I was in pain. The pain woke me up, and I was like, yeah, no. Before this progresses to the point of no return, I need the epidural. So I tell the, you know, the nurses, like, I would really like the epidural, please. And that was one thing, I guess, nice about my birth, was even though I was in pain, it wasn't any worse than my normal period pains. Like, my period pains were worse than my contractions, but they were starting to ramp up to where if I was on my period, I would start to take a pain med. So that's when I knew, okay, I should probably get the epidural. And the entire time I'm saying please and thank you to all the nurses. Like, if they would like adjust my pillow, I'm like, thank you. Oh, would you like this? Yes, please. Like, my dad told me afterwards, like, you are the most polite person I have ever seen in labor. And he has sisters who have a lot of kids. I told my dad, well, of course I'm gonna be nice to the people who have the medications, the access to all the pain meds. Why would I be mad at them? They have access to it all. I swore that anesthesiologist looked like my age. And I know he wasn't because of just all of the training and schooling he has to go through just wouldn't make him my age. He was aging really well. Like, you could not tell medical school did a number on him. Like, he looked really good for his age. And he gives me the epidural. I go to sleep. My entire laboring process was, I was asleep. I was taking naps. And when I got the epidural, I did get slightly nauseous, so thankfully I had my fan in my hospital bag, and I just had that literally just pointed here. This is the part that was hot and making me nauseous. Felt great, fell asleep. Another reason why I got the epidural was cervical checks. Dear gracious, have mercy. I always thought, like, when they go in to check, it's just like they just put the fingers there and just see how far you're dilated. And then apparently they go in and stretch to see actually how far dilated you really are. Those hurt. Oh, the last one I got without the epidural, I had to breathe through that one. That one was, that was enough for me to get the epidural, honestly. Not just being woken up from sleep, but that cervical check, no. But then once I had the epidural and they gave me a cervical check, didn't feel a thing. I was like, yep, check down there all you want. I didn't feel a thing. So this whole time, the midwives are like, you know, think marathon. This is gonna take a while. I was like, okay, you know, it was about like a Thursday when I went in. I'm like, okay, maybe Saturday or Sunday he'll be born. And at this point, I'd been napping the whole time, so I was like, this kid can take all the time he wants. I'm just fine. Thankfully, my epidural worked. It took on both sides. I didn't feel a thing. My epidural, he did a fabulous job. Love that doctor. I am living la vida loca here. And I'm like, okay, and then it's the next day, so it's a Friday. It's early in the morning, and this entire time, because they have the heart monitors on your belly, the entire time my son is playing cat and mouse with this heart monitor. Like, every 30 minutes, they had to come in and adjust. That was the only thing waking me up from my naps, was them having to adjust. And then I would fall right back asleep. At this point, just so you can have a mental picture, I'm on this side. I'm on my left side, okay? I'm like, I have the peanut bowl. I'm on my left side. I'm just chilling, just napping. And they're like, he's playing cat and mouse with the heart monitor again. We really need to like, maybe turn you to your other side. I was like, okay. Now, just so you know, my water had been broken. This was like 20 minutes before. And they told me I was 5 centimeters dilated. Like, my body was doing great. And like, midwives had no worries. They're like, oh, your body's progressing great. Around the time that they broke my water, like a little bit before they broke my water, I had told them I had felt some pressure in the back door. They told me, oh, that's just part of, you know, the laboring process. That means like he's getting down there and he's just putting some pressure there. I'm like, okay. But since my water had broken, I'm like, I'm not gonna push anytime soon. And I'm waiting for that feeling to push. Little did I know the backdoor pressure was the feeling to push. I just didn't know that because I didn't have this like need of like, I need to push him out. I never went through that. I still don't know what that feels like. And I have a child. For next time, if you feel any pressure in that back door, like you need to use the bathroom, you need to push. Now I know for next time, if I feel pressure back there, I'm gonna tell them as soon as if you break my water now, this baby's coming. Like, just so you know. Because I'm like, I pull myself using like the handle on the hospital bed. I pull myself to my other side and one of the nurses comes behind to adjust my leg. Well, in order to do that, I had sheets. So in order to do that, she has to expose me. And because she's going to expose me, my dad, my father-in-law, and my husband were in the room. And I had no problems with them being in the room. But I did want a little bit of privacy. So she tells them, face the other wall. Like, turn around and face the wall. My husband doesn't have to do this. So he wasn't. He was kind of talking to his dad looking in my direction. And my mom and my mother-in-law had actually left to go get food because they were hungry. This is the next day. You know, and my parents had made it literally in great time. It was like maybe an hour or two after I was admitted to the hospital. That's when my parents arrived. Like, great time. So they're there. And so she has to uncover me, right? As soon as she uncovers me to adjust my leg, I hear,
Oh my God.
now listen, that's the last thing you want to hear from a nurse is, oh my God. The other nurse, who I could tell was more senior because she was my main nurse, she looks over and she just goes,
Okay, push the button.
I don't have my glasses on, okay? I'm completely like, everything's fuzzy. I can't tell who's who. This kind of part of the story is based off of what people told me. She goes and pushes the button. What I do remember was the nurse still standing next to me, calls in her phone thing, whatever that is, and says, NICU. I remember that very clearly because my first thought was, I'm hemorrhaging. I'm emergency C-section. Like, that's what's gonna happen. No, that did not happen. What happened was my son was in the bed looking up at them. Without knowing, I had delivered my son. And they went back and looked at the heart monitor and they could tell when he was born because I still had them on. And it was around the time that I had pulled myself, and apparently by me pulling and using those muscles in my abdomen, that pushed him out. He was right there. Apparently that pushed him out. I didn't feel him on me. I didn't feel anything. I didn't know he had vacated my stomach. He was a little blue. So before I knew it, there were so many nurses around me and like baby specialists around me. And my husband was like, it was like 20 nurses. I don't know if it was 20, but that room was packed with nurses. Like they took my dad and father-in-law out of the room. My husband was there like white as a ghost. And my husband saw when the nurse took off the sheets, and he saw my son there. And he did think we had a stillborn because my son was so still. My husband couldn't see that his eyes were actually open. He said his heart just like dropped. My son is alive and well, and they're rubbing him, and then eventually, I'm still on my side, by the way. They actually didn't put him on my chest, they put him on my hip, and all I see is this baby looking straight at me like, hi mom. Like, that's literally how it felt. And then he cried. He did cry, and my dad did actually ended up capturing that moment on video, so that's a video I hold very close to my heart because I wanted my birth recorded. I asked my mom when it was time. No, it ended up being my dad. I didn't have the whole like, you know, it's time to push, dad, you know, hold her leg or hold her hand or like help her count or help her breathe, and like, oh, he's coming, last push. I didn't have any of that bonding moment with my husband, which is something I kind of feel sad about. I do hope I get more of that for the next baby, but I do know I am very blessed that I didn't struggle to have my son. He wasn't even born with like a cone head. He had the like most round head, and that was something many of the nurses mentioned when we finally were in recovery. They were like, his head is so round. I thankfully did not need any stitches. I did not tear. That was another blessing. I'm counting my blessings. My husband trimmed the umbilical cord. Yeah, no, the doctors were like, yeah, we're not waiting for dad here. But when it was time to deliver the placenta, they put me on my back, and like the midwife was like, okay, we need you to push, just to push out the placenta. And I look at my nurse and I'm like, tears, because I also, this whole time, it was bawling. Also, it was one of the nursing students who actually told me that I had delivered my son. Not one of the nurses. The nurses completely forgot I was there, that noticed I was crying and told me, oh, it's okay, like everything's fine, baby's okay, you just had baby. And I'm like, what? You know, the midwife's telling me to push the placenta out, and I'm like, I don't know how to push. Poor midwife, she's like, just bear down like you're using the bathroom. And so I did, but my epidural was still so high. Later I found out they actually lower your epidural dosage so you can feel more of the contractions to help you push. But my epidural dosage was so high. I was like, I am doing this based off of muscle memory. I don't know if it's actually working. But yeah, no, placenta came out and they were like, do you want to see it? I'm like, of course I want to see it. I got my bachelor's in biomedical sciences. Of course I want to see my placenta. Yeah. So I did. And really, my birth story, I had a very small little baby. Maybe that's one reason why I didn't tear. But which was so funny because they were like, oh, you have gestational diabetes, so we don't want baby to get too big. That was not an issue with my child. He was a very small baby. Oh, this child. That is my positive scary birth story. So if you ever feel pressure anywhere down there, make them check. Because I went from 5 centimeters to 10 centimeters like that in 20 minutes. So my doctor said,
For baby number 2, we need a game plan.
And yeah, because by the time I was told to go to the hospital, I wasn't even admitted. Like, I was told to go to the hospital, to the time I actually had him was only 21 hours with my firstborn. So for baby number 2, I'm thinking I want to be induced again. Just so that way I am there at the hospital, because they say second babies go by a lot quicker. My firstborn was already quick. Like, the midwives were amazed at how quick I was in having my son. I don't need to have a baby in the car or at home. No. Even though I wanted to be an OBGYN, I don't want my first delivery to be my, like, I don't want to actually have to deliver my child. I'm thinking of getting induced with my second one, just also because I had a great experience, and I'm definitely going to drink pineapple tea with the second one once I hit that third trimester. Let me know in the comments down below what you would like me to talk about next, and I hope that the story for all those first-time mamas helped you feel a little easy, that not all births are pushing for 3 hours. I didn't even know I pushed my son out. And just know that that's a possibility that can happen. For baby number 2, I don't want a blanket. No, I don't want any of that. They come the same way. I want everybody in the room to know. Don't worry, you got this, mama, and you're about to give birth, or even if you just found out you're pregnant, don't worry. You were born for this. Your body knows what to do. It's like ingrained in our DNA. I wish you the best of luck in your labor and delivery. And until next time, bye.